during the show, but the question we gave you at the beginning before anybody even saw us. The question was, did Watt invent the first successful steam engine? No, he didn't. The first steam engine, well, he invented the first one that was operable, but the first one was invented in 60 AD. You know, but in those days, you didn't have anything to run engines with. So the guy who invented it said, look, I have a steam engine, and anybody said, what steam, and who cares? Did you found that out right here on this show today? Isn't that exciting? We do have better questions coming up for these three people as they play to win a brand new car, so that's why the questions are better. You don't care about steam engines, do you? No. Who are our three new people? We just gave away another car yesterday, three new contestants today.
Well, Monty first, a lady who volunteers a lot of her time recording talking books for the blind. Deborah Caruso. Next, a high school teacher who instructs his students in the ramifications of subliminal advertising. Sandy Levin. And on your right, a lady who loves to knit beautiful things but can't follow a regular pattern worth a stitch. Neely Copstick.
Well, we'd like to find out something about our contestants. We'll talk to the first two, and then we'll talk to Neely a little later. Deborah, you read to the blind. That's marvelous work.
It's actually putting books on tape.
Yes.
I think that it's pretty well phasing out Braille. Yep.
Well, is it because that it's a much easier way for them to adapt themselves to the literature instead of having to go through it painfully?
I suppose so. It's much faster. Yeah.
Do you get any communication from the people from whom you read? Do they ever write you letters and thank you and things like that?
Yeah, it's part of, we have credits, you know, at the beginning and end of the tape. They sort of announce everybody who is involved in it. So
that's nice.
We have fans.
That's great. Well, that's a wonderful job that you're doing too. And Sandy, a high school teacher, what was it about subliminal advertising?
Well, I teach marketing, and one of the subjects that students really like is subliminal advertising, anything to do with the things that teenagers like to think about.
I think I know the answer to that question.
Right, yeah.
I get $100 all by myself. Sandy, when you give them these demonstrations, do you show these little subliminal 1/10 of a second flashes across the screen?
Well, we show some of the old tapes of things that did have that. We also show some of the way that sex is used in advertising and in posters, and how that has perhaps a buying influence.
I see. You teach this in high school, do you?
Not anymore.
Somebody finally came down and said, Sandy, better leave this for postgraduate work at college. Neither we're going to find out something about you a little later on. Let's start the show with these three wonderful new contestants. We play our game by asking a question, and each question has three possible answers, and we only want one answer from each of you. And if all three of you come up with a part of it, well, you get $10 each. If only two of you can answer part of it, it's $25 each. But if only one of you answers, it's worth $50 to that one person. And you buzz in when you see the entire question on the screen, but not till then. If you buzz in too fast, you'll be locked out. And then we go in order, 1, 2, 3, shows it in front of your desks. So if you're poised and ready to go with a brand new game, Deborah, Sandy, Neely, here we go. Bostonians live in Boston. Venetians live in Venice. Here are three other names we use for citizens of certain cities. Pick one, name the city they come from. Look at the screen. There are the Neapolitans, the Liverpudlians, and the Vichyssoise. Deborah.
Liverpudlians live in Liverpool.
Yes, they do. That's where the Beatles come from. Sandy.
The Vichyssoisians live in Vichyssoise, France.
In which?
In Vichyssoise, France.
Well, that's not Vichyssoise. Actually, the city is Vichy. What if my producer says Vichy and Vichyssoise? He says, all right. Oh, is he liberal today, Sandy? You must have got a subliminal thing across to him to let him say yes. And Neely?
Neapolitans live in Nepal?
Yes. In where?
Nepal?
No, I'm sorry, dear. I can't be that liberal. It's Naples, Italy, not Nepal in the Far East. So we're going to give two right answers to Deborah and Sandy, and they start off at $25. You don't have to be a singer, dancer, comic, or actor to become a TV star. Here are three personalities who don't do any of those things and still are big TV stars. Look at the screen. Tell me which one gives advice on sex. Cookbook author and the writer who introduces Masterpiece Theater. Sandy.
Dr. Ruth gives advice.
Yes, she does. And I wonder if a lot of people listen to that advice. Neely.
Cookbook author.
You don't have to go in order. You know, you could have taken any one that you wanted.
No.
Deborah?
Cookbook author is Julia Child.
Right, and the man who introduces Masterpiece Theater is Alistair Cookie, as he's known affectionately. So we have two right answers and $25 apiece to those two people. Incidentally, Sandy, the difference between your teaching and Dr. Ruth's teaching is none of hers is subliminal. That I can tell you. Religious controversy is a major factor in much of today's violent strife that we hear and read about too often. I'll give you the religious factions involved. You give me the country where the trouble takes place. Look at the screen. And we have 3 of those spots, and Deborah goes first.
Protestants and Catholics would be Ireland.
Which part of Ireland?
Northern Ireland.
Thank you very much, Sandy.
Sinhalese Buddhists and Tamil Hindus is Ceylon or Sri Lanka.
That's correct. Neely.
Hindus, Sikhs, and Muslims, India, and
Yes, well, India's good enough. That's all we have to worry about is India. You all get part of it. You all get $10. Shall we turn to geography? The English were the first settlers in America, and the Spanish the first settlers in Argentina. Here are 3 other countries settled by Europeans. Pick one, name the Europeans who settled the country. Look at the screen. The countries are Iceland, Australia, Brazil. Sandy's first.
Brazil, the Portuguese.
Correct. Deborah.
Australia would be the English.
That is correct. And Iceland?
the French.
No, the Norwegians in Iceland. Neely, sorry. Deborah and Sandy, $25 each. Most TV seasons include a show about the legal profession. Here are 3 legal characters from hit TV series of the past and present. Pick one and name the actor who played or plays the legal eagle. Look at the screen, and we have Owen Marshall, Perry Mason, and Judge Hardcastle. Deborah.
Perry Mason is Raymond Burr.
Everybody knows that one, don't they? Neely.
Hardcastle is.
Yeah, you didn't get it, Sandy.
Hardcastle was
And still is.
still in.
And still is Brian Keith. And Owen Marshall, Arthur Hill. Arthur Hill and Raymond Burr and Brian Keith. And let me see, we have Deborah all by her lonesome getting $50 and taking the lead. The stock market has its very own way of describing investors with short, picturesque names. Here's what I want from you. One stock exchange word that names the trader that you select. Take a look at the screen. We have a description of all 3 of them. One, what do you call a man who bets the market goes down? What do you call the one who bets the market will go up? And one who sort of plays both ends against the middle? Sandy.
Person who bets it'll go down is a bear.
That's right. That's a bear. And when it goes down, it's called the bear market. Deborah?
A bull bets it'll go up.
That's right. And that's called the bull market. And how about the guy that plays both ends against the middle?
A dog.
A dog? I've had such traders in my time. And I called him a dog, but actually it's a straddler, a man who straddles the fence. So Deborah and Sandy get $25 each, and my stockbroker will be very happy to hear that he's referred to as a dog. The score at the end of the first round, Deborah 160, Sandy 110. Neely only has 10, but I think Neely's a little nervous. She'll come back in the second round where we double the stakes right after this. We've talked to Deborah and Sandy. Now a word with Neely. You're not as nervous now. You're getting a little calmed down.
A little bit.
Did you, you talked about, was it knitting or, did you make that sweater
Yes,
yourself?
I did.
Well, could you stand up for just a moment? Maybe our cameraman can take a picture of how pretty that sweater is, and she made this all by herself. Excellent. Do you do this professionally or just for yourself?
Just for myself and
Really?
for my family.
You could find quite a clientele. What do you think, Deborah? we could go out and buy some of those sweaters.
Apparently her mother designed it.
And your mother designed it?
Yeah, she did.
Isn't that fantastic? Mother design, and you don't do it commercially. You should do that. Right here in the studio, we got at least. I was thinking of all the guys who like to buy one for their wives. No sale. So let's talk about the other point that Sandy said. He said that you can't follow a pattern.
No, the patterns are very difficult, and I have a hard time understanding which way to go in the pattern. So I just design the pattern and do it my own way. Much easier that way.
It probably would. Well, thank you for being with us, Nellie, and I want to see you do better in this next round,
Okay,
Sandy
sure.
and Deborah. And of course, we're going to double the stakes. That means that Neely could come back, because this time, when the 3 of you answer a question correctly, you don't get 10, but you get $20. And if 2 of you get the right answer, it's 50. And if 1 of you alone gets the answer, you're worth $100, and that's the way you make a nice comeback. Remember, you're also playing for a position on that countdown round, because the one who is leading at the end of the second round will have the edge in that countdown round that determines who goes for the car. So if you're ready, Deborah, Sandy, Neely, second round. The title father is often given to men in recognition of their specific accomplishments. According to the World Book Encyclopedia, who are these 3 famous fathers? Look at the screen. There is the Greek father of medicine, the American father of blues, and the father of the American Constitution. Sandy.
Greek father of medicine is Hippocrates.
Hippocrates is correct. And Deborah.
Father of the American Constitution would be Thomas Jefferson?
No, I'm sorry. Neely?
Father of the American Constitution would be Benjamin Franklin?
No, James Madison, believe it or not. James Madison. And the father of blues, W.C. Handy, who wrote St. Louis Blues. Sandy, you get a big $100 all by yourself. Shall we go to the circus? And while we're there, I'll name 3 attractions, people or equipment, that have specific names. Pick an item, give me the circus name for it. Look at the screen. What do they call the man at the circus who's the master of ceremonies? What do they call the main tent and the horizontal bar hanging from 2 ropes? Sandy's in first again.
The main tent is the big top.
The big top. Deborah.
The horizontal bar hanging from 2 ropes is the trapeze.
Yes, you got it. And Neely, what do they call the master of ceremonies?
The MC?
No, he's the ringmaster
The
in the
ringmaster.
circus. He's the ringmaster. Deborah and Sandy get $50 each. In the 1986 November election, 3 incumbent governors won handily and are considered possible nominees in the 1988 presidential elections. I'll name them. You name the state they're from. They are George Deukmejian, Mario Cuomo, and Tommy Thompson. Sandy?
Mario Cuomo's from New York State.
Governor of New York State. Deborah?
Tommy Thompson is California.
No. Neely?
Tommy Thompson is Massachusetts.
Illinois. And George Deukmejian is California. Sandy again with $100. At this juncture, Neely has got to start making a comeback because Sandy and Deborah are pulling away. According to the American Kennel Club, the Cocker Spaniel originated in England and a Silky Terrier in Australia. Here are 3 other popular breeds of dogs. Pick one and name its country of origin. Look at the screen. Where does the Pekingese come from? The St. Bernard and the Great Dane. Deborah is in first.
Pekingese is China.
Correct. Neely.
St. Bernard, Switzerland?
That's correct. Sandy.
And the Great Dane, Denmark.
No, Germany, believe it or not. Call him a Great Dane, but he came from Germany. Deborah and Sandy get $50 each, and now Neely's got to score some points. In Hollywood, Sunday is a great word for part of a movie title. So here are some facts on 3 hit movies that include the word Sunday in their titles. Pick one, give me the title. Look at the screen. Melina McCurry was in one, Glenda Jackson, Peter Finch, and Jane Fonda and Rod Taylor. Let's see how we do with this one, Deborah.
Melina McCurry in Athens was Never on Sunday.
Never on Sunday. Sandy?
Jane Fonda and Rod Taylor in the Big Apple, Bloody Sunday?
No. Neely, can you give me one?
No.
Well, you should have taken the cue from Sandy because Glenda Jackson, Peter Finch were in Sunday, Bloody Sunday, and Jane Fonda and Rod Taylor were Sunday in New York. Deborah gets $100 and ties Sandy for the lead. I'm going to show you 3 geometrical shapes. All you need is one word to describe each. Pick A, B, or C and name the shape. Look at the screen. Geometrical shapes, A, B, or C. Deborah.
A is hexagon.
Hectagon is correct. Sandy.
B is a triangle.
B is a triangle, and Neely, what is C?
Octagon.
Correct for all 3. They get $20 apiece. I'll give you the names of 3 big rock groups of the 1960s whose lead singer went on to have a successful career as a solo artist. Pick a group and name the successful lead singer. Look at the screen. The Animals, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Bread. Name the solo artist. Sandy.
The Animals is Eric Burden.
That is correct. And Neely.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears is Burton Cummings.
No, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is not Burton Cummings. Deborah.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears is David Clayton Thomas.
That's right. And Bread was David Gates. I think you're talking about Burton Cummings, the famous Canadian with the Guess Who, right? See, even I know something about rock. The only question I could ever answer about rock music. And so we have Deborah and Sandy getting $50 apiece. The reason I said that he comes from my hometown of Winnipeg, Canada, and he's famous up there. Tourists from all over the world have been flocking to the United States this year, so let's help them out. Tell them what states fill these definitions. Look at the screen. What is the northernmost state? What is the smallest state? What is the southernmost state? Watch it now, Sandy.
Smallest state is Rhode Island.
Correct. Deborah.
Northernmost would be Alaska.
That's right. And the southernmost?
Mexico.
No, Hawaii. That's why I said watch it. We have Deborah and Sandy getting $50 apiece on that one. In an opera, each role calls for a singer with a specific voice range, like the lowest male notes are sung by a basso profondo. I'll describe 3 other basic voice ranges. Pick one and give me its name. Look at the screen. For the highest for the men, the lowest for women, and the highest for women. Deborah.
Highest for women is soprano.
The highest for women is soprano. And Sandy.
Highest for men is a tenor.
Right. And Neely, what's the lowest notes for women?
Lowest notes for women is alto.
Yes, alto or contralto. I accept both of them, and you all get $20 apiece. Actors don't always act. Sometimes they're into other things, like the 3 actors I'm going to tell you about. Here's what these 3 stars do on the side. Pick one and name them. Look at the screen. The movie star was a mayor, the one who races cars, and the one who produces wines. Deborah.
Mayor of Carmel is Clint Eastwood.
That's right. Sandy.
Mom, like best comic who produces wine is,
Neely, can you give me one of the others?
Falcon Crest actor who races cars is Paul Newman.
No, Lorenzo Lamas. And the You know, remember the old comedians saying, Mom always liked you best? Well, Dickie Smothers is a big wine manufacturer. That's his business down in California. So now we have only one right answer there. Deborah picks up 100 and takes the lead at the end of the second round, which means she will have the advantage in the countdown round coming up right after this. Now we're ready for the countdown round, players. So the money that you won so far you get to keep, but this determines who goes for the car. The questions are the same as before. This time when you buzz in, though, you can answer 1, 2, or all 3 parts. If you're correct, you can keep on going. That means somebody can make a good comeback. Every time you have a right answer, you count down 1. The first to 0 wins. Where do you count down from? It depends on where you were standing when we went into this round. The one with the most money, Deborah, will only have to answer 4 questions. Sandy is second, will have to answer 5 questions. And Neely is third, she'll have to answer 6 questions. And we'll get them up on the screen. Thank you. Now, are you ready to go? Get ready, because this is the all-important game. Throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen. Even the names of where they flourished usually changed. I'll name 3 fallen civilizations. You tell me the modern names of where they were. Look at the screen. They were the Aztecan, the Babylonian, the Minoan. And Deborah, you're first.
Minoan is the island of Crete.
That is correct. You may continue.
Aztec is Mexico.
Right. Go on.
And Babylonian is...
How about you, Sandy?
That's the Tigris and Euphrates, the Babylonians.
Yes, but what country?
Current Iraq.
Good for you, and you get to point there. So Deborah needs 2 to win, Sandy needs 4, and Neely still needs 6. How many people do you know that are over 90 and are still very active? Well, here are some facts about 3 famous nonagenarian authors. Name them. Look at the screen. 1 wrote Of Human Bondage, 1 wrote Major Barber, 1 created Jeeves. And Deborah, you're in first. You need 2 to win the game.
Jeeves and Bertie Wooster was P.G. Wodehouse.
That's correct. 1 more.
Of Human Bondage is Somerset Maugham.
You got yourself a victory. Major Barber's done with George Bernard Shaw, but Deborah comes through what they win in the countdown round. Very fast and very good, Deborah. Congratulations to you. Sandy, not subliminally, but really, you're out in front. $500 is what you're going to take back to your high school class. Buy the guys a few hamburgers, sit around, and teach them something about marketing. Wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you. Neely, you only managed to get $100, but you certainly managed to impress us with your sweaters as well, too. So maybe some people watching will call you and order a few. What would you do if they did?
Tell them to buy their own.
Tell them to go out and buy their own. I made mine, I'm keeping mine, right? Thank you very much for being with us, Neely and Sandy. And Deborah, you can move out from behind there, because we'll take a walk up on stage and see if you can win this beautiful automobile. And the right people who won lately, they've been winning them. Well, Debbie, that's the beautiful new car that you'll be going for. Let's have Sandy describe it for us.
Well, Monty, that's the elegant Buick LeSabre Limited Coupe, featuring a powerful 3.8-liter V6 engine, automatic transmission, and all the standard equipment Buick is famous for. The LeSabre.
Well, Deborah, here's the way we play our game. You've qualified now to select one of the 5 screens behind me. Behind one of them, it says car, and the other 4, there's money. And since you're a first-time winner, you select 1, and if you're successful, of course, the car will be yours. If you're not, you come back to play 2 other people on the next show. Take your money and come back. So now, your selection of one of the 5 screens.
The number 5 keeps coming up in my mind, so I'll say 5.
All right, let's take a look around now and see if that lucky screen is number 5. If so, you're going to drive home in a beautiful automobile. Behind there, it says car. It says car the first time out of the barrel. Now, isn't that amazing? The last 3 winners, not the one who won 4 days old, the last 3 winners who won the first time picked the car on the very first shot out of the barrel. And so this car is going to be yours. Isn't that terrific for her? Is she a happy young lady? Take a look at this. It's marvelous. And here are the other 2 people who are congratulating you, and it might have been yours too. But why don't you step inside your new automobile as this young lady, Debbie Caruso, wins the first game, wins the car with her first try, and what a happy young lady she is. And we thank you all for being with us on the show today. Thank you very much, Sandy and Neely, and we all say to you very, very much that we appreciate you being here today. I hope that you'll join us next time on Split Second, when somebody else is probably going to win a car every day on the show, the way it's been going. Will you join us for Split Second? Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for being with us.
a Stephen Hayes, Monty Hall production.